Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the OnLive Game System and Service. Released in the United States during June of 2010, OnLive attempted something new with what they dubbed cloud gaming. What the service provides is an on-demand-like platform where games are streamed instantly to the player. This is as opposed to games being downloaded and installed, often requiring the latest and greatest hardware to perform well. The player's inputs are then sent back to the server, controlling what's happening on screen. On a fast internet connection, this constant communication between the player and the OnLive servers is nearly instantaneous, and it provides a fairly seamless experience. It's like playing on a real console or computer minus the hassle of hardware upgrades and buying physical software and so forth. So, how does it work exactly? It's fairly simple actually. Games are run entirely on OnLive servers, and a video stream of the action is fed to the player through their game console or PC application. When one purchases the OnLive Game Console, they'll receive a pretty nice, sleek package in my opinion. If you lift the top of the box, you reveal the game system, the instruction manual, as well as the controller. The system is actually pretty small, but it does have some weight to it, and it feels pretty well built. On the front, you're going to find two USB ports, and if you flip around to the back, you're going to find your LAN, AC, optical, HDMI, AV, and standard stereo headphone ports. The included OnLive controller is a wireless device shaped similarly to other current-gen controllers, although it does have a few extra buttons for OnLive-specific functions. All in all, it feels nice in the hands, and like the console, it seems to be pretty well built. By default, it's powered by standard batteries. Included in the packaging also is a separate rechargeable battery pack with the charge cable included, much like at Xbox 360. Lifting up the first tray in the packaging, you're going to find multiple boxes housing all your cables. Again, they're pretty nicely packed. They look pretty good, get the job done for you collectors out there. It should be noted that at the moment, the system, I think, only uses the HDMI connection, and it does require an HD television for it to work. It's not going to work in your standard old Sony tube. Also, it requires a physical landline connection to the internet. It has no Wi-Fi built in, so don't buy it thinking that you're going to be able to connect to your wireless network. It's not going to work. Alright, anyways, with the hardware portion out of the way, let's take a quick look at the service running on my PC. Aside from the initial console setup, user interfaces are pretty much identical between both the console and PC versions of OnLive. As long as you're logged into the same profile anyways, all your games, your save points, all that good stuff, it's going to transfer over between PC and console. So if you got a PC upstairs, you feel like playing your games on a new TV, you can make that switch. And OnLive supports that, which is pretty cool. Alright, so the minute you boot up your OnLive console or your PC application, you're pretty much greeted to a nice swirling OnLive logo, and you're slowly moved over to your home screen. Here you've got your variety of standard choices, but for this video we're going to focus on the few main draws, at least main draws in my opinion. Also keep in mind that this video was actually taken back in January, I believe. That's when I got my OnLive system when they were running their sale, and I've been meaning to put this video together since then, so this footage is kind of old, but a button or two has changed since then, but the modern interface pretty much looks identical. Alright, so anyways, the first thing of interest here is the Marketplace tab. Obviously, this is where you go, you can purchase your games. What's actually kind of interesting here is that they have a rental model where you can pay a smaller amount and have access to your game for a limited time. So you can basically play less if you just want to play it for a couple of days. There's also another interesting option where you can get a specific pack of games for a flat rate monthly fee. This is called the OnLive Play Pack. Currently, it's only $10 a month, and at least 50 titles are included in the pack right now. When I originally signed up a few months back, there were less than 40 titles, I believe. So they're constantly adding new games to that flat rate play pack, and it actually has quite a few decent titles in it. As of right now, it has BioShock, Hitman Blood Money, the Titan Quest collection, as well as Just Cause 2 and Just Cause Part 1. Alright, before we get into the meat of the platform, the My Games section, I want to show you what I think is one of the coolest features, the Arena tab. Now when selecting this, a grid of different players pops up. When clicking on a specific window, you're taken to that player's current real-time session. The first time I loaded up the OnLive service, all I did was bounce back and forth between different sessions, watching people play games I'd never seen before. And keep in mind, this also happens all in real time. It's definitely a very, very cool feature. You can just pop in and out, watch different games. get an idea or feel for what the game is like. It's pretty cool. Alright, lastly I'm going to talk about how the platform actually handles and how it looks and how it feels and how all that goes with actual gameplay, because I'm sure that's what everyone's concerned about right now. How well does it play, this whole streaming idea? Here I'm going through my Games tab and I'm going to load up Fear 2. After selecting to launch your game, you're actually treated to a pretty cool loading screen while it preps on the server side. After getting into the game, you're typically able to customize anything you would need to, like you could in a standard PC game, outside of video settings. The video modes are actually locked on the OnLive service, and they're typically locked around 1280 by 1024, sometimes a little bit less, but usually 1280. They're actually unchangeable, you cannot mess with those at all. Despite that limitation, the games actually still tend to look pretty good, and there's very little video artifacting, which is actually quite surprising, and everything looks pretty crisp for what it is. When playing a game, you'll actually notice a slight delay after pressing a button. There is a little bit of button lag. How noticeable the delay will be depends on the speed of your connection and how close you are to one of OnLive's servers. I personally tried running it on a friend's cable modem connection, and I have to say there was a second or two of delay. It was playable, but it wasn't the kind of playable scenario that I would recommend to anybody. So I might recommend trying it out on a cable connection just to see how it works, but you're not going to be able to have a good time with it. For me, I actually use a fiber optic connection. There is a tiny delay, but really only a few milliseconds. It's very, very subtle when my connection is really solid, and it's really to where I can hardly notice it. As you can see here in my video, my aiming in Fear 2 is pretty much spot on for the most part, showing that what delay is there on a fast connection is of really little detriment to the quality of gameplay. So, in closing, I will admit that I'm not personally a huge fan of media distribution that is strictly digital only, but I have to admit that the OnLive concept is actually a pretty cool idea. The first time I loaded up the application, my jaw pretty much dropped at how smooth everything worked and how quickly after the initial install it took me to get into a game. And it really, really was a serious like WTF moment. Like I hadn't seen anything this cool in quite a while. And I do recommend you guys check it out as well. All in all, I have very few complaints with this service, although there are a couple minor gripes, and I'll get into those right here. First off, the majority of the prices in the marketplace don't really appeal to me. Many games are still $50 when they can be had for less on a physical disc. However, I do understand why they're kind of pricey. I'm sure that hosting costs for this sort of thing can be astronomical. But on the flip side, in the few months I've had this service, OnLive has held quite a few sales, and many of them have been pretty good. And they just recently started implementing their $5 Friday deals, which is kind of similar to Steam's Midweek Madness and their weekend sales. They also do promo deals here and there if you're interested in the game console itself. During the 2010 holiday season, that's actually when I picked up my console. And they ran a deal where systems were marked down to like $40, $50, or $60, something like that. And even not too long ago, they ran another deal where you received a free console if you pre-ordered Homefront in full. Not a bad deal at all, if you ask me, provided you know, your standards at home meet the hefty high-def landline requirements to hook up the console. Another complaint I have is that the console controller has a D-pad that is segmented much larger than it really needs to be. It leaves a very large gap in the center of the pad. It can make it slightly awkward to use. The analogs are fine, but it's the D-pad. Right now there aren't really a ton of D-pad friendly games on there right now. It's mostly just analog, you know, first-person shooter stuff, but there are a couple, like Braid is on there. Also, another nuisance is that the controller only works on the game console and not the PC. This is kind of unfortunate for those that are going to be switching back and forth between playing on their PC and their game console and want to use the controller on both. Alright, so other than that, I can't really say too much that's bad about it. OnLive's definitely a cool concept that is really only hampered by its uber-fast internet requirement, and for some of you old CRT users like myself, and its HD requirement. It's certainly something that you're going to need to try before you buy, just so you know what you're getting into, but fortunately you can download the PC application to try it just to test your connection speeds to see how well it works. You can try that for free. And really, it's something I still recommend everyone try. The technological achievement here is actually pretty cool. And I think regardless of your opinions on it, in a variety of ways, I think you're still going to be impressed with the fact that they managed to pull something like this off. It's pretty cool. Anyways, like I said, if you want to try it out for yourself, just go ahead, point your web browser over to onlive.com/games. There you just create a quick free account, and then you download the application. It's a super small download, probably a megabyte or two. It's really tiny. And once you're in, you can try any game for free up to 60 minutes, so you can get a feel for how the service runs on your connection. See if it's something that you like. If not, uninstall it, no big deal, or leave it installed and just watch other people play games. Not a bad deal if you ask me. But anyways, guys, with that, that's basically it. I'm out. Thanks for watching, and I'll definitely be back with another video sometime soon. So take care.